Hi friends, welcome back. I got something I want to talk about. I'm a little pressed because I went on like a 30-second monologue and I wasn't even recording that whole time. Figure that. In the last episode or video, I talked about business, general business, sort of, ideas, just off the dome stuff that maybe I would do, or maybe if I had the resources, I would just kind of spontaneously do just to see. Well, what I guess I wanted to get into is maybe documenting and maybe just documenting my business and sort of my experiences and where I'm at. Treat it as like maybe a little bit more of a structured vlog, almost like you know how it's funny, I've been seeing this trend online with the whole like me when Netflix interviews me for such and such or for X and Y. I guess this would be sort of my take on that, except I don't have a second camera to really like sell it. Maybe that becomes a thing in the future, but for now, so it's a little bit more structured, a little bit more organized and laid back than a vlog or than a typical vlog. Vlogs I'll definitely want to still do. I just want to attack life. I'm attacking life. I believe for the most part, as far as documenting, I kind of want to also allow this to be a moment of reflection, meditation, and manifestation. Not necessarily saying what my plans are. To me, that makes sense. It's not like I'm going to say, what I have scheduled for tomorrow with such and such or with X and Y. But, at some point in the future, I want to have this done. And so I think that's sort of the best way I can describe that feeling or that thought. It just dawned on me too, and I'm not gonna get too into specifics, but it just dawned on me to reach out and do a shoot, like a commercial for a big chain retail store and another retail store. Well, they're both retail stores, one more with clothing, the other with products. And both of which are pretty accessible. It's interesting. I'm not really sure what my strategy would be going into it outside of just going in person, speaking with whoever. One of them I kind of have an in with just because they helped me with my business. Like I have a business account there and such. And so me and them have been in connection recently due to some circumstances that came up. And so I'm like, you know what? Like, with all they're doing, with how they're helping me, I kind of want to return the favor and do that for them. And if it's paid, it's paid. If it's free, it's free. I kind of don't care because I'm thinking about it too. One, these are two brands that I use on the daily. One in the sense of fashion, in the sense of just clothing, what I wear. Like I support this store very strongly. The other I use on the daily in terms of support. So it's very much not the worst thing as opposed to offering free videos to local businesses. And I think I got into this on the last episode as well, where I said for a portion of my strategy, I would go to local business. Did I talk about this or did I talk about this in the last video? I feel like I did. I don't know if I got too deep into it or if I kind of just skimmed it. But for the longest time, that was my strategy. And while it got me my foot in the door in terms of getting actual content and sort of being able to promote myself, promote what I do, build my portfolio, there was zero retention with that. And I think I realized too, it's because, especially at the scale of the businesses that I was dealing with, they already knew that they weren't gonna pay for a video or pay for a service such as that. And so they probably saw or had the foresight of being, you know what, we'll get this first video, and that's all. We'll just take the free promo, maybe recycle it, maybe clip it, what have you. Now I've switched up my tactic to where I am starting to reach out to businesses and with the desire to actually seek a payment or to actually seek payment for services, and even maybe engage in a partnership and say like a subscription based thing where they bring me on once a month, twice a month, however much. They pay me once a month, but once a week or once bi-weekly, I go in, I get my clips, and then I'll give them a video once a week or something like that. At least at the scale that I'm at right now, being also an operator, that's sort of the limit to where I can go, because otherwise if I was a little bit bigger, I could have I could hire out a videographer, I could hire out an editor, so that way all I would have to do is just sort of reel in the clients and then tell my videographer, hey, you're gonna go here to, you know, get this footage, whatever, then you're gonna go here and da. You're gonna send it to this person who's editing the video. You know, they'd be trained, they do all this, and they'd have the, you know, there'd be some structure, but that's of course later down the road. It's interesting too, I think, especially with being in sort of the current AI revolution that we're in, it's very tempting to outsource creativity to AI models or, you know, LLMs, in the sense of, hey, you know, I'm this aspiring content creator, or I'm running this business, you know, what's the strategy to do this? I think I will say, I think when it comes to script writing and maybe proofreading, I think that's a big benefit to using AI and those LLMs. But if you're not the one putting pen to paper and actually coming up with the ideas, and I heard this term earlier today and I love it, so I'm going to reuse it. By not doing that, you're really allowing your brain to go through atrophy. This wasn't a concept that I really considered before, but I think now the idea of neural atrophy, if that's already a term or whatever the term for that would be, neurological atrophy, I think is very much a real thing nowadays, especially with these AI models. And so to tie this together, I've utilized AI in the sense of asking questions regarding business, like actual business structure and organization, but I've refrained from asking it, hey, you know, what am I gonna make, what's my next video gonna be, basically, and just outsourcing my creativity to that, if that makes sense. Creativity in the sense of actual conceptual, what's the word for it, spawn for video ideas, right? Because this, 2 weeks ago, I would have never thought I'd be doing this sit down content, but everything here between the table and the decor, all this I've just slapped together in the last week because I felt really compelled to start doing the sit down content. And for a while now, I've sort of had attempts and stabs and jabs at making like a podcast or dialogue type content. I feel really called to that for some reason. I feel like my big three when it comes to content would be like cinematic commercials, vlogs, and this sort of sit down style content. Now, I think at some point, for now, I'm just gonna start dishing it out and see how it does. I personally like this. I think it really allows me to reflect. It's really easy to use AI, and it's really hard to use it responsibly, because really by using it too, especially if you're not consciously aware of what you're doing and you're just sort of going with the flow, because you could this has happened to me before as well, where you're, you know, communicating or texting, or excuse me, typing, and you forget that you're talking to a robot, because it's programmed in such a way where it really does compel you to give a proper response, or to, you know, ask a follow-up question. And sometimes, and this is what's really interesting, the programs themselves will sort of like walk you down a certain path. You know, ChatGPT, Claude, it's at the end of every prompt, it's always, you know, would you like me to do such and such? Would you like me to elaborate on X, Y, and Z? And in some cases they're handy, but then in other times, if you're not careful or if you're not aware of that, then you just kind of let yourself be guided into this different topic or this different discussion. And not that that's like necessarily the worst thing, you know, maybe it gives you an idea or inspiration for something new, but then the issue with that is then you can essentially be guided into having an idea that you thought was yours, but then was the seed that was planted by these AI models, right? So it's very interesting. Took a quick intermission because the camera overheated. How come y'all didn't tell me my neck was over here looking crazy? I'm looking just real degenerate. I'll end it with this. There's this one guy that I know who also makes content. Honestly, I admire his work. I admire his work ethic, his drive. And so I aspire to match that. And I'm disappointed with how long I've put off just making videos seriously and getting to sort of this level that I'm at now. I'm grateful for it. I think, honestly, though I could have done with some other, or excuse me, without certain experiences. I'm not necessarily resentful either at the fact that they happen. All that to say, I think I don't know how many times I've said this, but I wanna get at it harder. I wanna attack life more. I see it. It's like the older I get, the more it nags at me, and I don't even want to say nagging because I feel like that's inappropriate. I feel like that's not the proper term for it. But it definitely, the calling doesn't go away. It's been there since I was like 8 years old, and it just has not left me alone since. And especially since the time that I turned 17, 16, something like that, was when I started making videos to kind of this level again. I think I owe it to myself too. I definitely do feel like my purpose here on earth was to create. I don't know how else to describe it, but between just my actual desire, just the things that I live for, some about being creative. It's always been there since I was a kid too, and I've lost some side of that or some touch of that, which honestly kind of saddens me. Because I think if 8 or 10-year-old me could see me now, he would be both proud and disappointed. I really haven't done much favors for myself, only up until this year. So we'll see how it goes. 10 years, September would mark 10 years since I've put myself online, I guess you could say. Granted, the footage and existence of that doesn't exist outside of my own, archive, but professionally, I've only been at it for maybe a year. Lastly, I'll leave it with this. Just start. I mean, you see it on your feed all the time. You see it on every bit of advice or every bit of searching that you do. It all just leads to starting. I think that's always been my mistake too, is starting but never consistency, never discipline. It was really easy for me to get demotivated or demoralized and stop with it altogether. You honestly just gotta have faith in the process. I'm very much guilty of that as well. I've kind of dropped everything between posting on Instagram, TikTok because again, demographics, some other stuff that I'm pretty sure is just excuses. Instagram, bit of a same deal. It's mainly just been, I've been working on this for a little bit, so now I think I could probably get back into that. Yeah, I'm really just waiting more for a response from these businesses, because 2 of these, if I could land two of these spots, it would be huge and really cool. In the meantime, I'll talk to y'all later. Stay creative.